Hello, and welcome to the webinar covering the Agile Ticketing Update for version 6.41. We are very excited to introduce you to the significant benefits to the Agile ticketing system. The first enhancement we are going to cover today is the addition of Apple Pay and Google Pay support for online and custom app purchases. This will allow customers to easily use payment methods already defined in their Apple or Google Wallet to pay for their order. Use of this new feature is supported on Bluefin, NMI, and SafeSave gateways. Let's take a look. We will start by purchasing tickets and proceeding on to the payment process. Now we have options to choose our payment method. We can choose Apple Pay, Google Pay, or to type in our credit card information to pay. We're going to choose Google Pay, agree to the terms and conditions, and click the Pay button. This pops up the Google Pay options for my signed-in user. We can choose from multiple payment options that we may have. In this case, we're going to use the default method and confirm the payment. This allows us to easily complete the order without having to type out any specific payment details. So while we are on my desktop, we're going to get back to the payment process and choose Apple Pay. In this case, when we proceed, we see the option to scan a code with our iPhone. This will allow us to finish the payment process. This allows you to choose your payment method on your phone and use Apple Pay even when you're not ordering on an Apple device. Now we are going to jump onto an iPad and look at the payment process. We'll start with Google Pay. We will use our default payment option and confirm to pay for the order. This time we will look at Apple Pay. We choose that option. It asks us to validate with our fingerprint via Touch ID, and that will complete our order. The next enhancement on our list is the new full venue seating map. With this new view, customers can see all seat availability for the entire venue at once. They no longer have to jump between a section overhead view and a section seat view. Let's take a look. We will start by looking at the back-end setup of a full venue map. Most organizations with reserved seating already have their sections and individual seats defined. The venue diagram option allows you to define how all sections fit together within the venue. From here, we can arrange the sections where we want them. We can rotate sections. We can flip sections front to back and back to front. We can set a background image to show different entrances or exits and other features of the venue. We can view the key to show us different information about what price levels are there and what the seat status is. Once we have the venue set up the way we like, we can save the changes, and we'll go back to the showing setup and make sure that the venue seating type is selected. Here under the ticket search type, we just have to make sure that we select venue seat selection, and that will enable that whole venue view. With this in place, we can now view the entire venue at once, along with all price levels and seat availability. This makes it easier for customers to see every available seat to make sure that they make their best selection. We can hover over a section and see the section name and a perspective image from that section. We will find the seats and choose the ones that we want to purchase. From here, the individual seats are listed below along with the available price points. In this case, we only see the default admission price. Under other circumstances, we may see a child price point, or if we were signed in as a member, we would see our member pricing here. From here, the customer will add these seats and continue on with their order. The next enhancement on our list is our new integration with QuickBooks Online. With this integration, we are able to import or map QuickBooks accounts within Agile Ticketing and push daily journal entries for revenue and payments. Let's take a look. The first step is to connect to QuickBooks. We will click the Connect to QuickBooks button. Select the company we want to connect to. Agree to allow AgileTix to read accounting data and push journal entries, and click Connect. Now we are connected. We can move on to step 3, where we can import accounts and classes from QuickBooks into AgileTix. This is especially helpful for a new client being onboarded, as we can get the relevant accounts right from your QuickBooks chart of accounts. We'll click on Import Classes, and we can see the list of classes that are available to import and save those if needed. We can also click on Import Accounts to see the full chart of accounts and import those to be utilized within the AgileTix system. For those accounts that are imported, we will use the name and account number from QuickBooks and map the AgileTix and QuickBooks accounts together. If we already have accounts defined in AgileTix, we can map those to the relevant accounts in step 4. In this case, we see that all the accounts have already been mapped. Most of the redeemed revenue accounts in AgileTix are tied to income accounts within QuickBooks. We have some other accounts that are tied to specific QuickBooks accounts to assist with reconciliation. I'll filter our list down to just those. The account balance account is tied to an accounts payable account and has a generic AgileTix customer account balances user tied against it. The deferred balance account is tied against an account receivable account and has a generic AgileTix customer payments due customer tied to it. Both the gift card revenue and the gift card payments are tied against the same liability account named gift cards to track that long-term liability of outstanding gift card funds. The credit card tips account is tied to an undistributed tips liability account, as those will need to be distributed to employees. And finally, the cash, check, and credit card payment accounts are tied to our undeposited funds account so that we can reconcile those with our bank deposits. Step 5 is optional and allows us to set up automatic pushes of daily journal entries on a nightly schedule. This can be set to daily, weekly, monthly, or off so that they can be dealt with manually. We can also include an email address to get notifications of any problems when creating the journal entries in QuickBooks. For now, we're going to leave this set to off and manually push some data. Under step 6, create journal entries manually, we can specify our start date and our end date, and click the Create button in order to create the daily journal entries. We've already done that for several days and can see in our logs that we have successfully pushed data into QuickBooks. The basis for the data being pushed into QuickBooks is based on our account batch journal entries report. This report breaks out revenue and payments into the requisite credits and debits against the accounts defined in the AgileTix system. We will pull up that report to see the details for an example day. We see the list of credits to our revenue accounts, as well as the debits for our payment accounts. Now let's jump over to QuickBooks and see this day's journal entry. Looking at that day's journal, we can see the same level of detail entered against the mapped QuickBooks accounts. We can see the revenue lines. We can see things like the $200 worth of gift cards that were sold and the $32 worth of gift cards that were used for payment. And we can see things like how much cash and credit card we had noted as undeposited funds. This will allow us to use another feature within QuickBooks in order to reconcile those undeposited funds. We can now create a bank deposit for our cash and our credit card funds for that day and deposit into the appropriate bank accounts in QuickBooks. We can choose the bank account and note that we received this deposit for credit card funds in our bank. We can also mark the cash and checks received for that day and make sure to deposit those in the correct account. If we are over or short for the day, we can add an additional line under the add funds to this deposit to note how much the cash would have been off by. The next enhancement on our list is our new digital signage editor. The new editor allows you to create and save custom digital signs right within the Agile ticketing system. Let's take a look. We'll start with our list of digital signs we have set up for testing. We can see we have some dynamic signs like today's Showtimes or the now playing poster slideshow that will go through the different posters for what's playing now. These are set to dynamically update based on events entered into the system. We're going to go ahead and look at another use case for more static signage content like a concession stand menu. We will go to the properties of the concession menu and click Edit Sign. The signage editor allows you to define a custom layout and change it on the fly as needed. Let's say that we need to edit the price of candy and make it $4. We just double click on that, edit our price, and we're good to go on that. We have lots of different formatting options available for text, such as font color, font face, font size, letter spacing, all the different bold, italic, underlines, your alignment, stroke color, stroke width. We also have more advanced settings like opacity and blur and drop shadow options. Let's say we want to make the text pop a bit more on these headers. We'll go ahead and do that, and we'll set a black stroke outline on those. We have options to group items together or keep them separated into their individual pieces. That way they could be moved or copied as a group. We have options on our right-click menu to be able to copy, lock, delete, or move items within the layer stack. When looking at our sidebar, we have lots of different pre-styled text options to choose from. We have a collection of shapes and lines that can be added. We can insert images that have been uploaded recently, ones that have been uploaded for other signs that we've created, or we can search across our entire image library. We can add a QR code to the sign. We can define the sign background, whether that be a solid color, a gradient, or a selection of background images that you've uploaded. We can adjust the different layer elements within the sign, allowing you to change where they live in the stack, locking them in place, so that way they can't be moved, or hiding them temporarily if you don't need them right now. We can also change the horizontal sign layout to a rotated portrait one. When we are done, we can preview our changes, see it in full screen, and save the sign so that way it can be viewed on the digital signs throughout the theater. We're going to jump back over and make some changes on our concession menu 2. We'll go ahead and edit that up, and we're going to go ahead and try to utilize this space down in the bottom corner. We're going to go ahead and copy this element here, edit the text we want to put, and we're going to say order from your phone. We're going to drop in a phone emoji here and get rid of that one. Get it placed where we want within the space. Then we're going to go over here and go ahead and drop a QR code. Make it a little bigger so it can be scanned from a little further away. Get that lined up in this area and go ahead and save those changes. Now we've made it to where customers can scan the digital sign to go ahead and order from their phone. The new editor makes it simple to create and edit your digital signs when needed. The next enhancement on our list is the addition of multi-price edit options in Portal. Let's take a look. We'll take a look at a showing and select multiple ticket options. All we got to do is highlight all the ones we want to select and click the multi-edit button. This will allow us to pick which properties that we want to make adjustments to, and it'll make them for all of those highlighted tickets. Allows you to more quickly be able to edit multiple things all in one operation. The last item for this update is the addition of a new grouped Showtime view in Point of Sale. We have added the option to group all event times for a show together into a single row. Let's take a look. We'll go under Settings, Event Settings, and choose the option to group by event. We're also going to go ahead and jump back into Event Settings and choose the option to show image. Now we have a nice view of each film playing today, along with the available showtimes. Thank you for joining in so we could explore these new enhancements for our upcoming system update.